Good afternoon, folks. Dennis Jr. here with Zager Guitars in Lincoln, Nebraska. Today we're going to do a video on, this is going to actually be part 2 to our loose amplifier series. If you've watched our other video about our loose amplifier jack at the bottom, that video is for amplifier jack that was just minorly loose. This video is part 2 of that. This is for you guys who've got a really loose amplifier jack. And I'll go over again why these loosen. When the woods on these guitars get just a little bit dry, they condense just a little bit. And when they condense, it'll make this amplifier jack loosen just a smidge. And in vibration and playing, these guitars vibrate a lot because they put out a lot of sound. They vibrate. And this vibration causes this to come even more loose. Then let's say you put your strap on it one day, that causes a little more looseness, or if you plug it in, pretty soon you end up in a position where they're so loose like this. And our fix that I showed you on part 1 of this series of putting the little screw in here and tightening, like in part 1, that's not going to be enough because you've loosened this, the cylinder is so loose that you're going to have to go in and pull it out like I'm going to show you here. So what we're going to do today, what I have already done is I've loosened the strings 25 turns here. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and just 25 turns so they're evenly. So when you tune it back up, you can, when you pull the pressure back on it, you'll be about perfectly in tune. That's a little trick there for you we've used for many years. And since the strings are loose now, I pull them off to the side, and what I'm going to do is, first of all, and I usually do this sitting down with the guitar in my lap, but since we're here, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do it here best I can for you. You might want to zoom in here. I'm going to pull this cap off, and it may require a wrench to get it loose at the top. Usually not, though, and this is a 1/2 inch if you need it. It's a 1/2. And I'm going to pull off this chrome cover here, our little strap peg cover. And you'll notice this is just loose in here. And this is tough. You say, oh, how do I do this? And it can be very, if you haven't done this before, it can be very daunting. But it is actually pretty simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this. I'm going to take this nut off completely. And there's a washer underneath that. There's the nut. And here's the washer. And here's the piece. And what's happening is this is pulling through too far here. You've got too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop it back down. You're going to see, there it is. And I'm going to pull it out here so you can see. Whoops. And here's our problem. See this nut down here? This is what goes through, sticking out the back here. This nut is too far this way. We've got to pull this nut all the way back. I pull it basically at 1/3 up. So if this is the full 3/3, I'm going to move it 1/3 this way. So I'm going to turn it, and they should turn pretty easy. If not, you can use your little wrench there. But I'm going to turn it. I'm turning it I think counterclockwise here. Notice how it's moving this way? Okay, and I would say that's about 1/3 up, meaning if you put your thumb over this and your thumb over this, I'm trying to get a 1/3 this way. So see where that's at? Make yours look the same way. And once you're like this, here comes the tough part. It helps if you have small arms. If you don't, your son or daughter might be able to help, your wife, if they have small arms, but you've got to get your, what I'm doing is I'm holding it like this, and it's a little bit of a reach, and if you can't do it, as I said, find someone with a smaller arm. And I'm reaching up here, and I'm actually holding it about like this because my arms are very close. I can barely do this, and I've been doing it all my life, so I'm good at it. But if you can kind of grab it like this, whoops, and get it up here, and you're just going to reach, I hear it, there it is, and I'm pushing on the wire now because my fingers won't reach that far, and I pushed out. And that's how much you should have push out. See that length there? And if you have more than that, go back in and screw some more on that towards the middle. But that's how much you should have. And now with this, I'm going to hold it. And then what I'm going to do, I'm trying to do this again. I usually do this sitting down in my lap. I'm going to take the washer Actually, how I do this sitting in my lap is so it doesn't fall back through. It's like this. You see it sticking out here at the bottom? I'm going to take my washer. Whoops, I'm alright pushing it through. That's great. There we go. It's a lot harder to do these standing up, I'll tell you that. Okay, there's one. And then I'm going to take this washer. And I'm going to put my hand back in there a little, just so I can hold this out so I can... There we go. There we go. We're getting some tightness now on it. And if you see it twisting a bit, we'll go back to my first video where it shows how it's... I've gotten you to the tight part here, to where it's tight, but I'll continue on here for you so you know. And then, if you look close in here, you've got this little hole. See this little hole here? If you're twisting here and the inside's twisting with it, and it's not getting tight, simply put in a tiny screwdriver, a tiny nail, and you see how I got that to hold like this? And then you just simply take your wrench, that holds it in place, and tighten it. And tighten it hand tight, nothing too tight, because you go too tight, start cracking and stuff. And this is just like what's demonstrated in my first video, series 1 in this. And then notice, all tight, all good. And then your cover washer here for your strap tape. Notice everything's now good and tight. And then simply put your strings back in place, and you go up 25 strokes, and you're as good as new. And this should stay tight. And again, review over this video, back up again, and watch it again just to be sure you got it all straight there. But very easy fix. I've done it all my life, so I know I could do this in my sleep. But again, the hardest part is the small arms in getting your hand down in there. So if you need some help, that might be a good idea, getting someone with smaller arms if you got bigger arms. So if you have any other questions, don't be afraid to email Dennis at Zager.com, and I'll get back to you. Thank you.